what did you hope to accomplish on day one of 15, and how close have you come to reaching that?
Right, I wanted to accomplish the practice expectations, and for me as a head coach, it was just the little things. You know, seeing the guys strain and push and mental toughness and getting on and off the field, covering to the ball, just the little things. And then the expectation of the coaches is, hey, coach the details, coach the little things. A scheme will take care of itself. Obviously, we know there's going to be some transition on both sides of the ball. So I wasn't really worried about the scheme today. Obviously, we got 5 days of installation, so it's going to compound. They're going to make mistakes, but I want to see them push through mistakes. I want to see them develop that mental toughness. Today's a little bit tough because we don't have no shoulder pads on, so it's not as physical. So I just wanted to see guys move around, be assignment sound, be able to line up, know what they're doing. But the biggest thing for me is just coaching the details and the little things, and we got a lot of work to do. I felt myself gravitate towards the offense. I think I coached every offensive position today, and but the defense, they were rocking and roll, and I thought that they had the better day. If you were comparing offense and defense, we didn't do much special teams today other than field goal. But biggest thing for me was just trying to coach where I could, but then manage practice and trying to look for things to improve from a process standpoint, from an organization standpoint, from a timing standpoint. So got a lot of notes. We'll cover them as a staff in our staff meeting tomorrow. But man, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
How do you have, like, you have a plan for where you want to be, what you want to do, or are you kind of feeling it out?
Kind of feeling it out, and seeing how things are going. And then if I like ball security, I want to be there at ball security so I can make a point of emphasis. Obviously, going to gravitate towards the wide out. That's my natural position. Watch them a little bit. Quarterbacks, I'm not messing with the quarterbacks too much. And the reason being is you don't want too many voices in their ear. Now's not the time. I'm gonna let Dez and Taylor, talk to that guy, and then I'll coach them on the field when I'm standing behind in some competitive stuff. And went to inside run, so I had to split between inside run and one-on-ones, just so I can kind of set the expectations. So today it was more about floating around and setting the expectations with the players and the coach of how we're going to practice.
What do you want the energy in a Tony Elliott practice to feel like?
Oh man, just guys that are playing from a place of joy and passion, loving what they're doing, understanding that, man, it's going to be hard, it's going to be challenging. Coaches are going to get after you, it's going to be intense, your body's going to be hurting, you're going to feel fatigue, but just finding a way to have joy, getting back to the love of the game like you were a kid. So a lot of energy, trying to have controlled energy. Don't want guys to be out of control. I want the coaches to coach. I just don't want them to holler. I want them to teach. So just a combination of guys excited, ready to be challenged, but then also improving with their fundamentals and technique and schematics because of the teaching that's going on.
Other than installing your systems and getting the terminology down, what are your biggest challenges this spring? What do you hope to accomplish?
Oh, depth, man. We gotta create some competitive depth at all positions. Obviously, the offensive line being the focal point because we were down, and a lot of the guys that are coming to help us are not here yet. So we got to develop what we got, just some consistency with everything that we do. And the biggest thing for me is the how we practice. Just how we practice, because the guys got to understand that we have to practice in such a way that the games become easy because it's so competitive and it's so fast. We get our conditioning done while we practice.
When you say that the defense won the game,
Yeah.
what or who kind of jumped out?
Sue was a guy that I noticed. I saw Sue. The linebackers were flying around. You saw Ben Smiley make a couple plays. So really the D-line jumped out. And again, in fairness to the offense, they only had one run scheme in. We were working one run scheme, so they pretty much knew what we were doing. But still, you still want to see guys compete. And I noticed they looked a lot more confident and quicker lining up. They had a lot more energy at times on offense. I thought the guys were lethargic a little bit and kind of resting on past success. And got to realize, and I got to get them to fully understand that you can't read nothing about yourself. You can't last year's touchdowns, yards, none of that stuff is carrying over. So it's a great opportunity to teach and lead. I think that the practice was a little bit faster, than maybe what they might have anticipated. So some of them got a little bit winded, which is good because then now you get to see how much mental toughness that they have. Are they going to push? Are they going to strain? And there's a great opportunity from this practice to challenge some guys, especially some guys we expect to lead.
Coach, you've been here as head coach the last couple of months or so. Do you feel settled in? I mean, are there some things you're still kind of learning on the job? How does it feel right now that you're into the spring part?
Well, this was actually really, really fun because yesterday was the first day I really got to dive into some football. Everything else has been program related. A lot of things going on, trying to engage with donors, raise money, organizationally, trying to get the support staff where I needed to be, just trying to get the culture, rooted, getting the guys to understand. So I've been doing a lot more of the CEO type activities. So today was actually pretty fun. And you said a couple months. It feels like about 3 years. Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. But I tell you what, every day I wake up, I have more and more confirmation that I made the right decision, and really, really proud of the staff for the way that they jumped in with 2 feet. The guys are eager, excited, they want to. It's just our job as coaches to push them to the edge and teach them to jump off and fly.
Tony, you mentioned the receiver position, and
Yeah.
obviously your affinity for it, but what do you think about the group you have?
Talented. Very talented, got size, got speed, got everything that you need when you're building a complete receiver room. Really going to challenge those guys. Those guys will tell you once you have a chance to talk to them, man. Coach Elliott is on us because it's such a technical position, and confidence is everything. So the way that you practice, your fundamentals, your technique, all of those things are important, and it's a different scheme. It's a different scheme than what they're used to, so they got to challenge themselves. But, man, we got everything we need at wideout. We just got to get those guys to lead because right now that's the most talented group that we have.
You kind of touched on it a little bit about building a culture
Yep.
and kind of doing that sort of stuff in the program first. Have you seen these guys out there kind of make mental gains and physical gains from the off season and just see that kind of buy-in?
Yes, definitely see their physical gains, their bodies are starting to transform. Really have made a point of emphasis on nutrition and making sure that these guys, have proper nutrition. Morning practice is a little bit tougher because breakfast is the most important meal, but we all know that's probably the one that we skip. So you got to get some fuel in these guys. But I've noticed their bodies, and especially on defense, you could tell their bodies are filling out a little bit, and that gives them some confidence so that they can fly around. And from a conditioning standpoint, and obviously too, defense, a lot of their stuff is teaching. Offense, you got to run through plays, so it puts a little bit more tax on the guys in practice. But mentally, today we needed to challenge them. I thought yesterday the energy was great when we had our walkthroughs. It was sharp, it was crisp. But once the live bullets started flying, we lost our composure a little bit, and that's something that we got to teach these guys. Part of our culture is, man, we poise, we don't flinch. It doesn't matter what the situation is, we don't flinch.
Tony, how is your staff gelled? You guys have been together for a couple months.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys coming from different places.
Right.
How's your staff
So,
gelled?
man, so far it's been really good. It starts with good people. I got really, really good people on my staff, and they align with what my vision is for this program about being student-athlete focused in holistic development. And it's been fun. It seems like we've been together for a while. Now today was the first day on the field, so there'll be some things for us to tweak. And I told the players, I said, I got accountability too. I got to do better. I got to get better as a head coach from the first practice. So I'm calling y'all out, but hey, I'm calling myself out too, and my coaches are going to call me out. So it's been really good to see those guys gel. I think everybody's families are about settled now. That takes a lot of pressure off of it. So now they can really, really focus on their job, and then also too, they have their families with them, and I got to make sure that they don't stay here all night, that they go enjoy their families too in the springtime.
You got 2 more minutes, and then we have the players.
Okay.
You mentioned your offensive line.
Yeah.
How far can you expect to take them in the spring, or is that something that just has to carry over?
I think it's gonna carry over because right now we got some of the guys that we feel like we're gonna count on that aren't available. We got some guys that are out for the spring, so that piece of the continuity is not going to be there. So it's going to carry over. But the biggest thing for me is to figure out what's the best 5 that we can go with, and then as we bring the other guys in, those grad transfers and some of those freshmen, and we'll see who can supplement and help going forward. But it's going to be a process from where we are to where we need to be. That's going to go all the way through fall camp and probably into the first part of the season.
I know you said that you don't like to beat your hands on with the quarterbacks or anything, but what's it like having Brandon here? I know he broke y'all down before practice started, just having that leadership.
Right, it's really, really good, and that's an area where I'm gonna challenge him too. And that was something I challenged him in practice. That man, he's the field general. Man, when you see the troops need a little bit of need a shot of energy, you provide it. Okay, you gotta get to, because obviously he's got a ton of confidence in his ability. Man, he can make every throw. We know what kind of player he is. Now he has a chance to use all aspects of leadership, and that's the area where I'm gonna have to challenge him from that standpoint. But he's been awesome. He's like a pro. He doesn't have much classes left to finish up, so he gets to come over and watch a lot of film. So it's been really, really cool to see him and Coach Lamb and Coach Dez start to gel together.
Tony, you mentioned in February the idea of recruiting the locker room. That you don't want spring to end and have a bunch of attrition. How do you do that? How do you actually go about that?
Right. One, from my perspective, just making sure that I show my appreciation for everybody. and not just catering to one particular person. But I make myself available to all the players, give them what they earn. You know, when they earn something, reward them. Challenge the coaches to reward the guys with reps that have earned reps, and not predefine what the depth chart is, not predefine what you want, but let it play out. And I think when we do that, and then be accountable and be transparent and be honest with them, I think that's how you recruit your locker room.
Do the last question from Jackie.
What was your initial impression of those early enrollees? I know sometimes it can be kind of overwhelming, especially if you're a high school guy coming in.
Yeah, you notice obviously Davis, that's tough. Coming in as a quarterback, and now you got a brand new system, and we're starting from the ground up. So obviously, you know, huddle's going to be a component, but that's the hardest thing to teach. Because not many guys ever work and operate in the huddle. So now you got the communication in the huddle, just the field generalship. Then you got all the formations and motion adjustments. So he's swimming a little bit, but Bracey is a guy that I'm starting to see his leadership and his enthusiasm. And then Camper's been awesome. And Chandler's going to be fine. I think that it's a little different than coming from Wisconsin, where he was at. So he's got to get himself acclimated. But I've been impressed with him. They're all going to help us at some point. But really, the one that probably is the furthest along will be Camper, and he should be because he's a transfer.